Hey everyone, welcome to the Geek Awakens, where the talk is geekier than doing this podcast for 4 years. I'm Mitch, and joining me tonight is Matt.
Hello.
Tabitha.
Hello.
Lydia.
Hi.
And Pickett.
Hey, hey.
Pickett is back from the dead, y'all. Well, I mean, he never really died.
He's a zombie?
Yes. You want to do that just for old time's sake, Pickett?
Zombie!
Like what you hear? Then be sure to subscribe to us pretty much wherever you get your podcast, including Spotify, CastBox, and Podcast Addict. Really like what you hear? Then throw us some scratch on Patreon at patreon.com/The Geek Awakens Podcast.
I don't think anybody says scratch anymore.
I don't know what year it is, but do people even have podcasts there? I don't think they do.
Whatever.
I'm so glad to be back.
So, any questions, comments, or concerns, like how old is Mitch really? Then shoot us an email at thegeekawakenspodcasts@gmail.com.
There's emails now? Wow.
Or you can also do it by the Pony Express. I guess that'll work too.
How about carrier pigeon? Does that work?
I was about to say carrier pigeon,
Okay,
to be honest. So, tonight on the show, we're going to review a new title from Lion Forge, talk about what we missed last month, and decide if Flash Gordon is a guilty pleasure or a dumpster fire. Later on, we get thrown out of a Build-A-Bear for building a mercenary.
Okay.
So, all right. So, to start things off, it is that time of year again. 4 years ago, we had our first try at doing this podcast during the Illinois State Fair parade. So even though I think we're like actually a week early, but the parade,
Yeah, I think we might be a week from like when it was that 4 years ago, but it was roughly 4 years ago.
Yeah, but like the fair is also like really early this year.
It
so
is.
Hey, whatever. In that time, we've gotten to talk to some awesome people and experience some awesome things. To every person and group who's granted us an interview, given us opportunities to cover their events, or even just given us a chance to listen, or even just a chance or a listen. I wrote this and I can't read. Anyway, thank you. We hope you'll stick around for at least a few more years.
We're still not sure what they were thinking, but thank you.
Yeah. Exactly. What is your problem? So, finally, I just want to touch real quick for something local that's going on, because local is always awesome, especially when it's local and geeky. But the Crown Plaza in Springfield is going to be hosting the Springfield Comics Expo, presented by STL Comics. I know we're going to try to be there on Saturday hanging out, so if you see us, be sure to say hi. I'm kind of pumped for this. I'm excited to see how they grow from last year's event. Because last year was, I think it's something we kind of keep going back to. Like, we were all surprised at how successful it was.
Yeah, and if they're just going to keep growing every year, it's just going to be incredible. So kudos to those guys.
So speaking of cons, Matt, you've got some info on a Cabin Fever Minicon coming?
I do. So my mom actually happens to work at the library in Dubuque, Iowa, which is the Carnegie Stout Public Library. And they do a Minicon of their own. This year it is going to, well, next year actually. Saturday, January 25th, 2020. They call it the Cabin Fever Minicon. But they actually just announced some really big news for them. Shauna McGuire, the author, most known for the Encrypted series and the Wayward Children book series, is going to be their meet and greet signing. So it's only kind of a one-day thing. They've got more details coming as they get closer to the event. Check that out. Shauna McGuire is a huge name for a library to get for a mini-con like this. So it's going to be cool. It's going to be fun. Already planning on going myself. So
Nice. Think they'll throw some press passes? I mean...
Oh, I'm sure I can probably work that out.
You know somebody?
I do. I got an in.
So, and where can people find out more about this?
Facebook. Just search the Carnegie Stout Public Library, and it's on their main page. They don't have a page set up for the con itself, but all the information will be through the library's page.
So, Tabitha, you've got some information on a little bit of sad news that happened this week.
As we shared on our Facebook page on Tuesday, Toni morrison passed away at the age of 88. This was a huge hit. I mean, to the literary community. Like, granted, she's an 88-year-old woman, but every time one of these greats passes away, it makes it a little bit harder because it's never easy to see them go, even though you know it's coming. She was the author of Jazz, Beloved, Sula, Tar Baby, and my personal favorite, The Bluest Eye, which meant the world to me when I was a kid. The world did. They lost a giant, but she left behind beautiful, wonderful words. So at least we have that.
We do.
All right, so a lot of big things happened while we were gone. In case you hadn't been paying attention, we took like a month and a week off. So, yeah, people everywhere freaked out, both in good and bad ways, over Halle Bailey being cast as Ariel. The Walking Dead surprised everyone with ending its comic book run, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. also announced that the show would be coming to an end. So with that, we want to spend just a couple minutes on a segment that we are calling...
So what did I miss? What did I miss?
Not gonna lie, that's part...
own the rights to that song.
That's why I only played like a couple seconds of it.
Good call.
I approve. I'm proud of you.
Same.
That's part of the reason why I wanted to do this. Like, cards on the table. Like. So anyway, the first thing during San Diego Comic-Con, Marvel had their big panel, and they released what Phase 4 is going to be. Just a quick rundown of the 10 movies and Disney Plus series that will be released during this time. Black Widow is coming out May 1st, 2020. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, fall of 2020. The Eternals, November 6th, 2020. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, February 12th, 2021. WandaVision, spring 2021. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, May 7th, 2021. Which they're billing that as like the MCU's first horror movie. So that's going to be interesting.
What?
Yeah.
I'm actually really excited about that one.
Yeah. Which it kind of makes me worried a little bit because what's that mean for the New Mutants?
Yeah.
But R.I.P.
What New Mutants?
Yeah. So also being released, Loki in spring of 2021. What If, also summer of 2021. Hawkeye fall of 2021. And Thor, Love and Thunder, November 5th, 2021, which is going to see Natalie Portman as the Mighty Thor. I'm very pumped for that.
Or as my sister pointed out to me yesterday, that Jane has a PhD, so she really should be Dr. Thor.
Yeah, she should.
Oh.
Just saying.
Yeah.
She's not wrong.
So Kevin Feige also did make an announcement at the end saying that he didn't have time to address where the Fantastic Four or the X-Men would end up. But they did also announce Blade, which will have Mahershala Ali. So,
Sweet.
Also, kind of what we've learned from this too is the series that are going to be on Disney Plus are going to directly tie into the movies as well. Whereas the current MCU television properties don't really have that much interaction with the movies, these will. So I am pumped for that. I can't wait to give Disney more of my money.
Because they need it.
Tabitha, what happened in your corner of the world?
Guys, we're getting a Hitchhiker's Guide series on Hulu.
Woohoo!
Right? Maybe. The showrunner is going to be Carlton Cuse, that did Lost and is going to be doing Lock and Key.
Okay.
The writer is Jason Fuchs, who did Wonder Woman.
Oh.
They will write, executive produce, and showrun the series. It's a, and I quote, modern updating of the classic story. So not many details yet, but modern updating makes me nervous because why mess with perfection? But both Cuse and Fuchs are huge fans of the books,
Okay.
so that alleviates my concern a little bit. Yeah. But it's coming. I'm excited.
I think I'm just going to live with the mantra, don't panic until I see a trailer.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Because, I mean, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, I mean, the movie that came out, gosh, I was going to say a few years ago, but it's been way longer than that.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue that was a modern updating of it.
Yeah, true.
So if they go that route, I mean, I think it'd be in safe hands.
Yeah.
So, Matt, what about for you?
So we got some news while we were gone that Joss Whedon's series, The Nevers, has added some fairly decent-sized names to the casting. They announced 12 different names. Probably the three biggest ones to take note of are Olivia Williams, who was in Star's counterpart and was also the mom, I believe, in Sixth Sense. Amy Manson, who was in Torchwood. And Nick Frost, who's done all those movies with Simon Pegg, Shaun of the Dead, etc. Among the 12 names.
Hey, Pickett.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Among those 12 names added to the cast. Again, The Nevers is a series about Victorian women who find themselves with unusual abilities, relentless enemies, and a mission that might change the world. So, Joss Whedon, 12 more casting names to this series. I'm still excited for this.
And we talked about this series before, right?
Yep, when it was announced.
And if I remember correctly, I was kind of like, I need to know more information. This little bit of information. I mean, I'm not completely in, but like I'm toeing the water. I'm like, this might sound interesting.
Right.
So, Lydia, you're going to be the killjoy in this.
I know, I'm sorry.
But I guess you're a necessary killjoy right now.
I'm not sure how to take that.
I mean, just because, we still do need to talk about these things.
We do. So a couple people passed away, actually within 2 days of each other. They both were voice actors in the Kingdom Hearts series, one for the English dub and one for the Japanese dub. The July 28th, Yu Shimaka passed away. He voiced Goofy in the Japanese versions of Kingdom Hearts, as well as other things relating to Goofy, like the Goofy movie that was Japanese dubbed. He was Goofy. He was also in a whole bunch of other animes and things like that. And July 26th, we lost Russie Taylor, who voiced Minnie Mouse. She voiced Minnie Mouse from 1986 until she passed away.
Wow.
As well as many, many other things.
Sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah,
she voiced quite a few characters in the Simpsons as well.
Yeah, she's got a whole long list, but I think Minnie was probably one of the, at least for me, that is most well known. And that one made me really sad. And then I had a split second of like happiness, because then I thought of Wayne Allwine, who passed away in 2009, whom she was married to, who voiced Mickey Mouse for 32 years. So they voiced Mickey and Minnie together. So I had that split second of, Mickey and Minnie are together again. So
Thanks for breaking us down, Lydia.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yep. Now I'm crying. So there's that.
Great. Now I guess we're just going to end this show now.
Well, good night, guys.
Just kidding. So, we got a chance to read No Ivy League.
Hey, Mitch.
Yes. Yes.
So I forgot to post my thing.
Oh, you do have a thing.
I do.
Okay.
I'm just a loser.
It's okay. You're not a loser.
Can you
But
pick us back up a little? Pick it, please.
Yeah.
Well,
Pick us back up.
I'll do my best. So I will be talking a little later on about the Samsung Unpacked event, but before that event, Samsung came up with an announcement regarding their Samsung Galaxy Fold phones, which we had all assumed at this point was dead. It is not dead. As a matter of fact, they look for it to be released as of next month.
Oh, wow.
Really?
They've strengthened it, added some new supporting metal supports underneath the screen, and so on and so forth. A lot of the issues they were having are they think they've fixed, so we'll see.
All right.
So we'll see how that unfolds.
And there it is.
I got stuck in all these cords trying to get to my bell.
Why does it not surprise me, though, that he's the first shame of the night after we come back from a break? Why does that not surprise me?
I'm just glad that it was me, because I meant when we were testing everything, I meant to have you do a shame to see how that was going to come in.
Way to go.
So
Well, now you know,
we
I
got
guess.
that test. So
It was all part of his master plan, so he says.
So anyway, like I was saying, we got a chance to read No Ivy League from Lion Forge. It is a graphic memoir by Hazel Reed Newlevant. This is going to come out in comic book shops August 21st and in bookstores September 3rd. So not going to be like spoiler heavy by any stretch of the imagination, but this like I said, it's a graphic memoir. So it tells the story of a summer in Hazel's teenage years, where basically she just she takes this summer job and she learns a lot about not only herself and her life, her upbringing, but also the world around her. I know I've said before, we've all said before, how the memoirs that Lion Forge puts out have always been really well done and just fantastic stories. I think this one is in that same vein. And it's really, it's a beautiful story of just about a girl like getting out of her comfort zone.
Yeah, I agree. This one really kind of hit home with me a lot because I was homeschooled too. So a lot of the things that she kind of learns, like as far as social interactions and things like that, like I've been in that situation, and that just the way it was written hit me really hard. So it was really cool to kind of see someone else grow up that way and see their take on it and how they learned basically to interact with normal people.
I will say this, probably a big difference between you and Hazel, because I learned this about you when we were doing that murder mystery show a few years ago. And I don't remember what song it was, but it was a 90s song that you had never heard of because you were homeschooled. Hazel loved 90s music.
Yeah, she's like way in depth with all the like old school music. See, the difference is I was a different kind of old school music. I was like the country side. She's got all the like hip hop and rap and that kind of stuff. So
fair enough.
I mean, yeah.
I think it was Tootsie Roll. I think that was the song.
I think so.
Yeah.
Like I'd heard it, but I didn't know it well. Don't give me that look.
Who's giving looks? Wait, who's giving looks?
Take a guess.
Yeah, who do you think?
Oh, it's Tabitha.
If my mouth doesn't say it, my face will.
But yes, so I loved this book.
Tabitha,
So, you know.
what'd you think?
I really like this. I really like the simple art and the like really heartfelt story. And like we've talked before, these memoirs that they keep putting out are just phenomenal. I was homeschooled for 1 year, and that was all of it I could take. So props.
Matt, what about you?
Again, just kind of echoing what everybody else has said, but also one of the things I really liked about this was just because of the diverse cast of the book, there was basically something that I think everybody or anybody could relate to, especially when it comes to that high school awkward social interactions. Whether it was, boys and girls interacting or different races or whatever it was, there was some sort of social interaction that I think we probably all could easily relate to. And again, I think it's just one of those strong points of these Lion Forge memoirs.
Yeah. One of the cool things too about this particular one was after the story was done, Hazel then spends a few pages just kind of taking us behind the scenes and showing us how she created this this story and everything, and how how she developed it and everything like that. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Fun read, quick read. But yeah, so check that out. Like I said, that's going to come out. You can find it at comic book shops August 21st. So, all right, guys. So it is time for this month's installment of Guilty Pleasure or Dumpster Fire. How excited are you, Pickett?
Very.
For this month's Guilty Pleasure or Dumpster Fire, we decided to... That's right. We decided to discuss the 1980 cult classic Flash Gordon, starring Sam J. Jones as Flash. That's enough.
Thank you.
Once again, we don't own the rights to that song.
Melody Anderson as Dale Arden, Max von Sydow as Ming the Merciless, and Topol as Hans Zarkov. There we go. Words. Currently, it's sitting at 82% on Rotten Tomatoes with a 69% audience score. So after watching this movie, one question remains: is Flash Gordon a guilty pleasure or a dumpster fire? Basically, we've got four questions. First one, what's wrong with this movie? Tabitha, we're going to start with you on this one because I know that though this was your idea. This particular movie was your idea. So
I would love to say that there's absolutely nothing wrong with this movie because I love this movie, but it's a lie. It's hokey. The female lead in this movie is literally just there to swoon over Flash and for them to develop a relationship in the time it takes to fly from Earth to wherever they end up. The plot doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I'm fully aware. And the storyline progresses like super rapidly. And there's some fairly blatant racism floating around in this movie. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a laundry list of things that are wrong with it.
I will say this about the female lead, Dale. When we first meet her with the, in the plane and everything, and she talks about how much she hates flying and everything, I was like, I felt that in my soul.
Right, but at the same time...
I feel you, girl.
At the same time, they hit turbulence, and she unbuttons her seatbelt to jump into his arms. I'm like, okay, I'm going to need you to think logically with me for like 2 seconds.
True. Matt, what was wrong with this movie for you?
That it didn't win any awards for costuming and set design. I mean, that's phenomenal. I mean, the color schemes alone, it was just eye candy.
I can't tell if you're being serious or not.
That's the best part.
Pickett, what didn't work about this movie for you?
Okay, so for me, the biggest problem is the sound effects. Like when the plane was having some issues, and like going down or whatever. Like I just heard the same meow over and over and over, and it just I lost it. I couldn't. The sound effects killed me.
You mean like when they were pushing the buttons and they were like the actual sounds from a telephone?
Yeah, so, it's all just. There are a lot of things, but that was one thing that actually stood out to me really hardcore.
For me, it was the continuity errors with this movie. Like, in the very beginning, like, they've never heard of Earth or whatever, but then they, like, press all these buttons for natural disasters, one of them being an earthquake. So you don't know what an Earth is, but you know what an earthquake is. Like, come on. Also, when Flash and Ming's daughter are in the jet or whatever, and she's teaching him how to fly it, she says that...
I did the exact same thing.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, you control the direction but with your left hand and the altitude with the right, and he just reverses it.
Yep.
Like,
the next thing he does is get it wrong.
Like, okay, cool, Flash. But that's the thing. He didn't get it wrong. Because it still did what he wanted it to do.
It's just not what she told him it did.
Yeah.
We were literally watching it, and I was like, that controls left and right, not altitude.
Like, I had to rewind and make sure that I wasn't wrong.
Nope, just Flash.
Also, and I don't know, I kind of put this in like my part of my redeeming qualities, but I guess this could also count as a continuity error. Again, these people know nothing of Earth, but in the wedding scene, somehow Here Comes the Bride is still being played. Like, come on.
I mean, maybe Dale taught them how to play it.
Maybe.
While she was like regretting her life decisions of getting on that plane in the beginning and ending up with a wedding that she doesn't want.
Should be alright.
Lydia, what about for you?
I mean, honestly, a lot of my issues with this was Dale. Like, okay, you met on a plane. 10 minutes later, he's looking at somebody else like, hey, remember me? Like, you just met. Chill your roll, okay? Like, slow down.
Oh, also, speaking of Dale, and I'm sorry, but can we talk about how, like, when they first got, on the rocket ship, I mean, Hans was, like, he was kind of being the bad guy in this situation, And, like, she and Flash have no reason to trust him. Yet they get on the, they get on this world, and, like, she's hanging on him. Like, who are you, girl? Come on.
She's afraid!
But there was Flash right next to her. I don't know. I'm sorry, but like if I'm being the damsel in distress here, like I'm not going to hang on the person who put me in that distress. I don't care how afraid I am.
You're not wrong.
So, Mitch, how often are you the damsel in distress? Just curious.
I guess to be fair, I'm not often the damsel in distress, so you're right. Maybe I don't know exactly how I would react in that situation, but
I hung on to a stranger
like it might...
on a roller coaster one time. Instead of my friend who was sitting next to me.
I feel like it might be a little insensitive of you to assume that you wouldn't hang on to just anybody if you're actually in distress.
Okay, that's fair. You raise a valid point. Lydia, were there any other issues with this movie for you?
I mean, some of those like creatures were nightmare fodder. Just
Yeah.
just a few of them.
Yeah.
And I had like this notebook page. I just kept writing things down on, and I forgot to bring it. But I started out with like the music. I was like, soundtrack equals perfection. And then by the end of the movie, I literally wrote, I revoke what I said if I hear Flash, whoa, one more time. I swear to God, I'm gonna hurt somebody.
Yeah. And that was another thing too, yeah, because like in the credits it even says how like the soundtrack it's composed and performed by Queen or whatever.
Yes.
And so I was like, okay, cool, like because I had never seen Flash Gordon before. I mean, I knew what it was, but whatever. So like I was like, oh, cool, it's gonna have like Queen songs in it, like right.
Nope, that was all. That was it. Just that one song, and then they repeat
Queen's
that
song.
one line like 50 billion times
Yeah.
during the last big like. I guess you'd call it a fight scene, but whatever.
That's something. So, so another question is like, how does this compare to any previous watches, if applicable? Like I just said, this was my first time watching it. My only other time I've seen any kind of extended period of this was like in the first Ted movie because they cut to Flash Gordon multiple times, but that's about it for me. I know Tabitha, you've seen this movie multiple times. How did watching it this week compare to other times?
I don't know how to answer this because this is the only time I've ever watched this movie sober.
So I guess that is a comparison.
I didn't enjoy it any less, but I don't know how it compares. So maybe it's the same. I don't know. I don't think I ever realized like how like overtly sexualized this movie is until we were watching it, and I was just like,
Oh God, yes.
did I pay attention? Did I pass out by this time? Like,
Do you have too much of that drink that?
she gives her before the emperor comes in,
Which is basically like, if memory serves, like I don't know, is it basically a roofie?
It's basically a roofie. Yeah.
That's good.
So, was this a repeat view for anybody else?
No.
No. Okay.
No, but I say this was my first time watching it, but I put the DVD in, and it started on the menu with all the little like clips and stuff, and I just went, oh boy.
So, all right. So let's talk about any redeeming qualities that this movie might have. Pickett, let's start with you on this one.
Biggest redeeming quality, while overplayed, Queen.
Okay. Lydia, what about for you?
Honestly, the biggest like redeeming quality for me was the couple of like musical people that were there, because I didn't know Topol was in it for one thing, so all of a sudden I was just like, ha, Tevye. But then later on I'm watching and I'm like, that's Riff Raff from Rocky Horror. Okay, where'd he come from? So like those two things, and then there are some little like quirky things throughout it that I liked, like Zarkov being like, don't you have any spirit? No. Well, thank you for your honesty, dude. I appreciate you.
Matt, what about for you?
The soundtrack, I really actually did enjoy it. I mean, it was Queen, and it was excellent. But I don't know. I might have to go with the appearance of James Bond, Timothy Dalton.
So, for me, I did still find myself laughing. I'm not for sure if I was laughing at it or with it, but I still found myself laughing quite a few times. I know, like, in a little bit of research that I did leading up to it, people kept describing it as it being, like, intentionally campy. And it's like, I'm not for sure if it was actually intentionally campy, because, like I said, this came out in 1980, so, like, none of us were alive yet. Or at least, like, the people talking. I mean, somebody listening, you might have been alive at that point, but whatever. I'm not for sure if it was actually intentionally campy or if they realized how awful it really was, and then they were like, oh, yeah, we totally meant to do that. Totally. Right, guys?
Right?
Random off topic, but can we just talk about the dude, like, melting and his, like, eyeballs and tongue just, like, spewing out of his face? Why was that necessary?
I don't know.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
I could think of a lot of
reasons. It sounds
reasons.
to me like somebody had a little bit of extra money left in their special effects budget. And
What can we do?
they're like, I got the perfect idea.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think I think if I ever do watch this movie again, I think I'm going to take the Tabitha route and
Be drunk?
under the influence of something. Yes. Tabitha, what were redeeming qualities for you?
I mean, you guys know I love this, and I don't know if I love this because it's like just like one of those things I watched in college when I was having fun and it's a nostalgia thing, or if I like the fact that it's campy because I like a good campy sci-fi movie. They're my favorites. But I will say we watched the entirety of Flash Gordon. Mm-hmm. We only watched about half of the Bat Nipples.
We did.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm just
So
gonna.
you cheated last time is what I'm hearing.
I'm just gonna leave it at that. I had seen that movie multiple times. I don't know. I think this is a phenomenal piece of terrible movie history.
So, all right. So now it's time for the ultimate question: is Flash Gordon a guilty pleasure or a dumpster fire? Pickett, let's start with you.
I'm going to call this one a guilty pleasure.
Okay. I think it's a dumpster fire. Lydia.
I also think it's a dumpster fire. I'm sorry, Tabitha.
It's okay. I'm not personally offended.
Tabitha, I know, we already know your answer, but officially, for the record.
Yeah, this is definitely a guilty pleasure movie for me.
Matt.
So despite the fact that I did not appreciate the campiness of the Bat Nipples, and that was a dumpster fire, there's something about this that is endearing, and I will definitely watch this again. This is a guilty pleasure for me.
The guilty pleasures win out, so Flash Gordon is a guilty pleasure. So.
If I ever have to watch this again, I'm definitely going to drink something first.
I highly recommend
Oh, God, yes.
I maybe should have like warned all you guys, and then you guys would be talking about how it was the best movie ever. Maybe not that far. But
Maybe that's what we can do for LodgeCon next year.
get wasted and watch
Yes.
Flash Gordon again?
It's actually not a bad idea.
It's not. You've had worse ideas.
Or we can start off sober, turn it into a drinking game, and then we just be plastered by the end.
If we drink every time they say Flash, oh, we won't be able to move the next day.
Right. Ugh. Sorry, Patrick.
Deepest apologies.
Let's all be at the table, like, regretting life.
So, like last year.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or just like any given day of the week.
True.
Also true.
So, Pickett, let's talk about Samsung's Galaxy Note 10 unboxing or whatever.
Wow. You really butchered that.
I know you haven't been on the show for a while, Pickett, but my segues have not gotten any better.
He's not wrong.
Well, that is obvious. Sorry, my phone's being stupid. It's also a Samsung, so that does not bode well, I guess.
Well, I'm sure it has the headphone jack, though. Unlike the Note 10.
For now. Hold on, sorry.
Okay.
I don't know
Samsung
what's
takes away
happening
my headphone jack. I'm going to be mad.
Well, while you're pulling that up, since I kind of mentioned that, so the Note 10 does not have the headphone jack. I know for me personally, like, I'm just a Galaxy guy. I flirted with the idea of getting Notes every now and then. A few months ago, I was thinking, like, yeah, I might upgrade to the Note 10. Why not? Give it a shot. But I'm not saying it's a complete and total deal breaker, but not having a headphone jack, like, hi guys, like, I still own DVDs and CDs. Like, granted, I don't use them very often, much like the headphone jack. I don't use that very often, but I want to still have it. That's just my take.
Well, okay, so it's tough because unfortunately this is becoming a trend amongst all cell phone providers.
True.
And I to this day do not understand why. I don't need a thinner phone, so just leave the headphone jack where it is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Pickett likes his phones thick.
Wow. I feel dirty.
Shame, just for making me feel super inappropriate.
Oh, wow.
And I shared my caramels with you.
Okay, so couple things. So it's the Unpacked event, the Samsung Unpacked event. It is not exclusively to the Note. It's other products as well, but it does focus primarily on the Note. The two other things they did come out with to tell us about were the Galaxy Book S, which is a super lightweight laptop. It's got about a 23-hour battery.
Ooh.
It's touchscreen, and their big thing right now is they're really moving to mobile computing. meaning that you can compute from your phone, this S-Book, so on and so forth. And the other thing they came out with was the Samsung Galaxy Watch Active 2. Nothing super fancy there. They're partnering with Under Armour for some of their stuff, and they have an Under Armour version of the device. But that's really all that we had in terms of other things. Everything else was primarily focused on the Note 10 and the new Note 10 Plus. Now, when I heard about this initially, I'm like, oh, a Note 10 Plus. So we're going to make my big phone even bigger. But it really just looks like they are going to make it a hair bigger, but really the Note is actually going to be smaller, and the Note 10 Plus is going to be about the average growth rate for a new Note. So it really should have been like a Note and a Note Mini. I don't know.
Because isn't the regular Note, isn't that smaller than the original Note? I think I read that somewhere.
Yeah, I believe so, yes. Yeah. It is actually a little bit smaller. The concept there is they wanted a phone that was a little smaller for people who like smaller phones, but really liked the S Pen and everything that the Note brings to the table. Speaking of S Pen, they've upgraded their S Pen yet again. The last Note came out with a... Sorry, I'm doing this all by memory because my notes are gone, so just bear with me. The last Note came out with the S Pen with Bluetooth technology and recharges right in the phone. You could push the little button on the S Pen, take a picture, and so on and so forth. Well, this one is upgraded a bit more. Now it's got accelerometers and such in it, so you can make gestures with your Note, your S Pen, and actually control your phone. You can turn your volume up, turn your volume down. You can scroll. You do all kinds of stuff with it. And I mean, and I'm just barely scratching the surface with what you can do with the new S Pen.
So basically, what I'm hearing is they turned it into a wand.
Ooh. Pretty much.
Every time you say S-Pen, that's how I say ESPN. And so I'm like, what about ESPN?
What sport are we talking about?
Let's see. They did talk about a partnership with Microsoft using DeX to make your PC version of the phone. Like when you plug it into a DeX, you can use it like an actual computer. A DeX is a little device that you dock your phone into, and it hooks up to a monitor, and it's got a keyboard and mouse and stuff, and it becomes basically a computer. They've had that for years. Now they've added the ability that you can just actually plug it in with your standard USB-C cable to any computer, and you'll get that brought up on that computer. So that's kind of cool.
Nice.
But they are partnering with Microsoft to make things flow a lot easier and do a lot more. The Note 10 will have a super fast charger with before now, everything at best was a 25-watt charger. Now you can charge up to a 45-watt charger for super fast charging, meaning that a 30-minute charge will last you all day.
Ooh.
Which in itself is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Samsung's partnering with Discord to do more social game experiences. You can now multiplayer game on the device while chatting and having conversations with people that you're playing with in these multiplayer games.
Nice.
They've upgraded the camera yet again. They always do. It's always a big thing, upgrading camera. But what they've done this time, what I'm very excited about, is they've got a pro camera. Not just a pro camera for pictures, now also a pro camera for videos. You can live focus within a video.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that in itself was a huge thing for me, so I'm pretty excited about that. Also with this camera, if you get the Note 10 Plus, you can now, they've got a depth of field camera. Now, that doesn't sound super exciting to some, but to me it's very exciting because with that depth of field camera, you can now take your phone and 3D scan an object.
Whoa.
Huh.
Yeah. You can then select that object, and you can actually make a copy of it if you have a 3D printer. Another thing that you can do now with that camera and with your S Pen is you can actually create filters just right on the phone. It'll just like Snapchat. It'll move with you and such. If you 3D scan something, you can actually animate that with your body. And last but not least, in terms of augmented reality, is you can actually draw stuff and move around with your camera as you're drawing stuff, and it'll create a 3D something that when you go back and look at it, it's going to be there in 3D space. So an absolute ton of things they've come out with for new and exciting things just for this phone. I'm not going to go into specs because
we're running low on time.
Right. So I won't go into all the specs or anything like that, but Overall, super exciting phone situation. I've been on the fence for a long time because Samsung is not always the best at making things cool and new. They were doing really good for a long time, and they slowed down. Well, I feel like they've really jumped back into the forefront of the tech world with this new phone.
Nice. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of those things sound cool, especially once you start talking about the AR stuff. It's like, that sounds cool, but that's not something I'm ever going to use. But yeah, like, I don't know. Call me old-fashioned, but man, that headphone jack, that's still going to be a holdout for me.
Oh.
Agreed.
But anyway, moving on, we're going to get to gut reaction. We're going to do a little bit of fast-paced here because there's still a couple other stories after gut reaction that I want to make sure that we talk about. The first one is going to be the new Carnival Row trailer.
There is a new Carnival Row trailer out. Full trailer, Amazon Prime. It is coming out Labor Day weekend. Basically, this new trailer gives us more story elements. We find out that there is not just murder, but there is a heavy dose of mystery to go along with the murder. There is a love story, and there's kind of a twist to the murder mystery, if you will. The Orlando Bloom's character apparently dies, but then is not, and turns out that he's going to be investigating these crimes. So I think it looks awesome. I'm really intrigued to see how the Victorian era and the Fae world kind of collide and coexist, if you will. I'm gonna go thumbs up. I don't know why it's been a while. I forgot.
It has been. Piga, what about you?
Oh yeah, I'm thumbs up with this one. It looks super cool.
Yeah, I remember being very meh when we saw the first teaser trailer. For the Super Bowl, I think it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, this new trailer looks awesome. I was digging the song that they had for the trailer. So definitely thumbs up for me, Lydia.
I was interested in this when we saw the teaser trailer, so now to have more detail to it, like Matt said, I'm really interested to see how the steampunky kind of meshes with the mystical, so I'm excited for this. Thumbs up.
Tabitha.
Yeah, very much so. Agree with what Lydia just said. I'm interested to see how they make all of this work together. I've been on board since day one because this kind of checks all my boxes, so thumbs up.
We also got the first trailer for Titan Season 2. This trailer introduces Superboy, Aqualad, Deathstroke, and also Crypto the Superdog. Season 2 will also still have Dick Grayson, Starfire, Raven, and Beast Boy, as well as Donna Troy, Hawk, and Dove, who had guest appearances in Season 1. Also, Donna Troy is rocking her classic Wonder Girl look. So, Season 2 comes out September 6th, or premieres September 6th. I still have a minor distaste in my mouth from the Season 1 finale, but that said, I am so ready for this season. Lydia.
I haven't gotten to watch the first season at all yet, but this makes me want to go and watch the first season because it just looks even darker and creepier and cooler, and I need to go watch it, so thumbs up.
Tabitha.
Yeah, same. Among the plethora of other things I'm trying to watch, I now want to add season 1 of this to my list, so thumbs up.
Matt.
I'm gonna detract a little bit just because as much as this does make me want to go back and watch season 1 and watch all of season 2 when it comes out, I'm still iffy on having to pay for the DC service in order to get this one show. So that alone, I'm going to go thumb sideways.
Piggott.
I'm thumbs up. I was also not super thrilled with the end of season 1, but I'm totally down to check out season 2 now. Thumbs up.
Tabitha. Tabitha, let's go to the Alamo Draft House.
No, I don't want to. So if you remember last year, they did the same thing with the showing of It Chapter 1, where they had all clown showings.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember they did this.
Yeah, we straight up talked about this.
Did we? I don't remember
I remember
this.
we talked about other things, but I don't remember the...
No, we talked about this because
Yeah,
I think
the
I
Alamo
brought
Draft
it
House
up.
is
I remember
notorious
us
for this.
talking about the all-female showing of something or
Of
other.
Wonder Woman.
I remember talking about that, but I don't remember all clowns.
Oh, they did clowns.
Yeah, they did but they only did 2 locations. So for Chapter 2, don't you guys worry, they're doing 17 locations. they're, carrying on with this creepy tradition, but whatever. Their website is encouraging people to come dressed as a clown. The wig, the makeup, the oversized pants, and the suspenders. Needless to say, I will be avoiding this. Thumbs up for all the creepy clowns in the world. A thumbs down for the fact that you exist.
Matt.
I mean, I love that they do these theme nights for these movies. I think that's awesome. It's obviously great marketing. Yeah, whatever. But this will not be a showing. I don't have an aversion to clowns really, but this will still be a showing that I would avoid at all costs. But thumbs up on the idea.
Pickett.
Yeah, that's a hard thumbs down for me. And it's not because I have like a weird clown, like Matt. I don't have a weird clown aversion or anything, but no.
I'm all about this. I'm not saying that I would do this, but I love the idea. Thumbs up. Lydia.
So as we were talking about this, I remember talking about this now because I remember my response, and it's going to be pretty much the same for this, which is thumbs up for the idea of doing this and the theme and all that, but thumbs down for all of my friends that don't like clowns because there's quite a few of them out there.
Pickett, let's get a Tesla.
Yes, I would love a Tesla, and they're trying to make it a little more enticing. I don't think this is like a big selling point for them. They're just adding stuff to their already existing onboard display software, and that is Netflix. You can now stream. You will be able to stream Netflix while the car is not parked. While the car is parked or in park, either way. Anyways, and that's it. They said they won't let it be a thing until let it be a thing for while you're driving. Until there's some laws that they work through, which I'm like, yeah, it's not really a thing. We don't really need that. So I'm gonna give this a thumb sideways, even though it's my story. I know, thumb sideways, just because okay, I get it, but what's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't sit in my car to watch movies.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can understand with YouTube, especially if you're waiting for somebody to, come out of the grocery store or whatever, I can understand watching a quick YouTube video, but yeah, Netflix, not necessary. Thumbs down. Lydia.
See, I was worried about this at first when I read this, but because of the driving part, but since you said it has to be in park, that kind of makes it better. But I can see this because I spend my lunch hour sometimes just watching Netflix, so I could see the necessity for this, but I'm still going to go thumb sideways.
Tabitha.
I'm also going thumb sideways because if I want to watch Netflix in my car, I'm going to watch it on my iPad and prop it up on my dashboard without having to buy a Tesla.
There you go.
Seems a lot cheaper.
Penny pincher over here.
You guys know me.
Matt.
I mean, my truck, if it's in park, I can put a DVD in the stereo and watch a DVD on the screen. I have never taken advantage of that in the 3+ years I've had the car. So I can't imagine how often I would use this feature, even if I did have the money to
don't
buy
you keep your DVD collection in the car?
Oh, of course. Absolutely. They're just under the front seat. What? No. I'm going.
Matt, those are CDs.
Oh, those are CDs. I'm going thumbs down on this idea. I think it's essentially just extravagant.
Matt, you also have a Netflix story.
I do. So Netflix has come out with a new contract, not for shows or not for to sign up for their service, but for co-watching to help prevent binge watch related arguments. There are 5 points to the contract. 1, I won't fall asleep. 2, I won't get distracted by my phone, causing the other person to rewind because I missed something. 3, I won't continue watching a show without the other person present. 4, I won't talk whilst the show is on. Yes, it does say whilst. And number 5, in the event that I come across a spoiler, I won't share it with the other person. And there's a place for names and then for signatures on said contract. I don't know. I like the tongue-in-cheek nature of this. I don't know. I'll go thumbs sideways.
Pickett.
I've already done a thumbs sideways. I'm just gonna do a thumbs down. It's a cool thought, but
Yeah. There are some of these that yeah I can abide by, but the won't fall asleep. I can't honor that part of the contract. I do that on the regular. So yeah, I'm gonna have to, for my own legality, I'm gonna have to go thumbs down. Lydia.
So this is funny to me because I could see this being useful for some people because I've actually had where I started watching a show that they didn't want to watch and they started watching it with me and then they passed me. So I would use this. Absolutely. Thumbs up.
Tabitha.
Yeah, I agree with Mitch. There are some parts of this that I would totally utilize, like the not getting distracted by your phone and then having me explain what just happened on the TV, and then I have to pause it, and then I'm angry. But I can't control when I fall asleep, which is always. So
Yeah, maybe take that part out of the contract.
Yeah.
But other than that,
I'm a napper.
Yeah, honestly, if the falling asleep part wasn't in the contract, then I'd be totally on board. Because look, when Megan and I are watching TV or whatever, and she falls asleep, I get to watch what I want. So, it's my turn. It's great.
So, Tabitha, let's go to Broken Earth.
So, N.K. Jemisin's Broken Earth trilogy is being made into a television show, which we talked about before. Don't know if you guys remember that, because you don't remember anything.
who are you?
Right, exactly. That was previously announced, and now we know we're getting a role-playing game. It's coming out from Green Ronin Publishing, being released in the fall of 2020. N.K. Jemisin herself is actually working with Green Ronin to create the game. This game, I don't know how much you guys know about this book series, but it is very important in today's political and environmental climates. The series is based in a world of constant natural disasters, tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanoes, the like.
Stuff that the people in Flash Gordon shouldn't know about.
Earthquakes
Correct.
on Earth.
Earthquakes on Earth, yes. But it's also combined with an incredibly unstable governing body. So the time is nigh. I'm giving this a thumbs up.
Nigh.
Matt, what about you?
I'm going thumbs up. I love the fact that so many of these book series have such in-depth worlds that you could create a game system based around it. So having the opportunity to do that, I think, is an awesome idea. So definitely thumbs up.
Pickett.
Yeah, I'm a thumbs up with this. I don't follow any of it. I don't know anything about it, but I love games. I love gaming, and the idea that there's just going to be a new game, I'm always down for.
Yeah, this sounds really interesting. I don't know that it's something that I will do, but yeah, thumbs up. Lydia.
I know nothing about this series, but I want to look into it now, and I like that they're giving kind of another genre of nerd access to it.
Right.
So, thumbs up.
All right. So it's been announced that Andy Serkis is going to direct the Venom sequel. He posted an image of himself with a copy of the story Venom Lethal Protector to break the news. You know, I'm going to give this a thumbs up. Venom was a lot better than a lot of people were going to give it credit for. And somebody like Andy Serkis attached to it, I'm interested. So, Lydia.
Sorry, I'm distracted. That's totally a chainsaw.
We feel like we're getting murdered.
It's
Yeah.
just our neighbor across the way and down one. It's okay.
Sorry. Anyway.
He does this.
He does this.
Again, haven't seen the first Venom, but Andy Serkis is pretty much always a win, so thumbs up.
Tabitha.
Yeah, I did not think that I was going to like the Venom movie until I watched the Venom movie, and then I was like, I like the Venom movie. So Andy Serkis can basically do no wrong, so I'm just assuming this is going to be just as good, if not better, than the first one.
Matt.
Yeah, I'm just going to echo everybody else's points, but also the inclusion of Andy Serkis and the hint that they gave to a possible character for the second one at the end of the first movie, definitely thumbs up to see what he does with that.
Pickett.
Yeah, thumbs up. I love Andy Serkis, and I was not the biggest fan of Venom, but I also fell asleep.
Good thing it wasn't on Netflix.
Right. But yeah, I'm totally down.
Tabitha, let's talk about Cersei.
So HBO Max has ordered 8 episodes of Madeline Miller's Cersei, and I actually squealed like a tiny little girl when I saw this happening. Cersei is a book that was released this year that is a reimagining of the Greek tale of Cersei from the Odyssey, daughter of Helios and a water nymph, I think. And in the book, it tells her story of how she got banished to the island. This is the witch that Odysseus encounters on his journeys. Anyway, I have read 84 books this year. I read Madeline Miller's book, The Song of Achilles, in January, and it is still holding the top place of anything I've read this year, followed immediately by Cersei. So we have no casting date. We have no casting. We have no release date. We have no details, but I am stoked. Giant thumbs up. The only way I would be more impressed is if this was actually going to be the Song of Achilles coming out and I got to do the casting.
Matt.
I have not read Cersei, but I have read the first one, this Song of Achilles. It's fantastic. I am excited to get to the point where I can read Cersei. As long as the casting and everything goes well, this should be phenomenal. So going thumbs up.
Pick it.
I mean, I'll go thumbs up. Just again, new stuff is always a thing for me. So,
I'm gonna go thumbs sideways only because I don't do Greek mythology. It's never really interested me that much. I remember having to read that a couple of times in high school, and it's just like those were the moments where it was like the most boring for me. But that said, thumbs sideways because y'all are happy about it. Lydia.
See, I don't know anything about it, but I'm going to go thumbs up because you're happy about it.
Thanks, guys. You make me feel special.
Matt, let's talk about Continental.
So there is Stars is working on essentially a spin-off of John Wick. It is going to be centering on the hotel, which is used by the underground syndicates, which is called the Continental. So things will take place in and around said hotel. It's going to be a prequel series, but it will not release at this point until after John Wick 4, which is scheduled for 2021. For me, I know Mitch didn't really care for John Wick. And
being nice.
Other people. But there are some fantastic ideas in regards to the underground syndicates and the centering around the hotel. I'm super excited about this. I think it's going to be awesome. There's also a possibility that Keanu may cameo. So thumbs up.
Pick it.
yeah, I mean, I keep going thumbs up here. I don't have a lot of. I just like everything today.
So nice of you. I really hate that I live in this like parallel universe where everyone has just been entranced by this piece of garbage that was John Wick. So
Wow. Tell us how you
Hashtag
really
Team
feel.
Mitch. Preach.
So the fact that we are getting like a series based in this world and that is also going to be on Stars, like for a hot second, I actually had the Stars app and like I had canceled my service with Stars before I heard about this, but I would have canceled it once I heard about this.
Wow.
Thumbs
Wow.
down. Lydia.
So I'm realizing how much stuff I haven't seen because I haven't seen any of the John Wick movies.
Don't
Bother.
Oh.
Don't watch the first one. You won't be able to handle it. I'm not kidding.
Okay, good to know. But
So much
yeah,
hatred.
Yes.
so since I know like nothing about the series and like there's like 50-50 in the room of what's of how these movies are, I'm just gonna go thumb sideways and hope nobody hurts me.
Tabitha.
Just know that you're wrong. But it's okay.
Nobody's killing your dog.
Stop it.
I mean, how is that a spoiler at this point?
It's not a spoiler. That's just go. I can't.
Oh.
That was the worst thing I've ever had to witness in a movie. I can't even talk in my entire life. Like, I love action movies. Action movies are my guilty pleasure. That moment, if I could have literally driven to wherever everyone who had anything to do with that movie ever existed and burned their homes to the ground, I would have.
So basically, you would have been John Wick.
Correct.
Hence the motivation for the movie.
I'm gonna murder you. Go away. Thumbs down.
Oh.
And 12 shames for Matt.
I'm just gonna add one to your like rage shame and call it a day. Okay? How's that sound?
All right, so we are already over on time. There is one last story that I want to talk about, mostly because I already hyped it in the beginning of the in this episode. So Matt, let's talk about what Build-A-Bear did.
So Build-A-Bear likes to stay with the times and release new bears that you can make that have to do with popular
Pop culture.
stuff, pop
and
culture,
things.
right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Right. So they did, they've done stuff for Lion King. They did Pokemon. They've done, How to Train a Dragon. Well, they might have crossed the line with the last one that they just announced. You can go in and build your own Deadpool bear. Now, the moment that this was released, the internet obviously went crazy. Because, let's just put it this way, Deadpool is not appropriate for children.
No.
Right? Really? Which is Build-A-Bear's target audience.
And me.
See, now, I see both sides of this story because I have 2 young boys and they have a number of different Build-A-Bears. But my 7-year-old has never seen Deadpool. He won't see it for quite a long time. But he's seen the commercials. He knows who the character is. He loves Deadpool. He would absolutely flip if he got to make a Deadpool bear. Is the character in general appropriate for him and his age? No, not at all.
Well, here's the thing, though. The Deadpool that we have now isn't the only version of Deadpool. There's been Deadpool in the various cartoons and stuff, too, that they've toned down.
True.
That is true.
It's not just the sex, guns, kill everybody, like, mercenary that we see now with Ryan Reynolds' version. There's other more tame versions that kids do know.
That's true, and I see that point. I don't know. Obviously the internet jumped on this because the most recent version is not appropriate for children. Even the PG-13 is not really.
The most recent and also, by and large, the most well-known.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Right. But yeah, I wonder, have there been, any petitions against Build-A-Bear for...
I'm sure there are.
Giving kids access to this devil figure or whatever? I don't know.
Quite possibly. I haven't looked, so I'm not sure.
See, this whole thing is just ridiculous. There's always got to be something for the parents. If it's a kid something, like it's a kid show or a kid movie, they got to throw something in there for the parents. And in my mind, this is what they're doing. Look, you guys are coming here and drop $8,000 on a bear. You might as well have your own Deadpool bear while you're here.
I could see that.
Yeah. I wonder, are they still selling it? Did they pull it or anything?
As far as I know, it's still available. You can buy it online.
Oh, wow. Why would you get a Build-A-Bear online? I mean, isn't half the fun of getting a Build-A-Bear?
No. You get the bear, and you don't have to deal with the parents who can't control their children and let them run amok, and knock everything over and dig through the bears and throw them everywhere. I have never seen children misbehave like I've seen children misbehave inside of a Build-A-Bear. It's like they walk in the door and they're like, must destroy. And they just start raging. It's weirdest thing I've ever seen. It's not the children's fault.
So on another note, though, if we can find a chill day where there's not a bunch of demon spawn running around, we should totally make a Geek Awakens trip to the mall and go to Build-A-Bear.
On our lunch break in the middle of the school week.
Right.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
Let's do it.
Can we make our own, make ourselves?
Nope.
We could try.
In bear form.
Well, I know, but we don't need to make ourselves. It would be we would draw names and you would make somebody else. Because that's way more fun.
I approve. Let's do it.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
Wait, has everybody seen this Build-A-Bear, though? Seriously?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's pretty
It's
cool
cute.
looking.
Yeah.
It's pretty adorable.
Doesn't
it's
he?
freaking adorable.
Yeah.
It's also sold out online.
That doesn't surprise me.
Womp womp. It's going to be like that Princess Diana Beanie Baby.
Right.
I was gonna come up with something that was gonna get me shame belled, but I'm gonna.
Two wasn't enough for you tonight?
No. So that is all the time we have for this episode of The Geek Awakens. Special thanks to Emmanuel Cannon for our new theme, as well as Shane McCain for our new logo. We'll be back next week, but in the meantime, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, where we'll be posting news throughout the week. While you're there, give us some feedback and tell us what cool stuff we're missing out on. From all of us at Geek Awakens, thanks for listening, and we hope you'll be back next week. Everybody, say bye.
Bye.